right, Mr. Verbeek, can you please give us the hybrid meeting intro?
Certainly. Welcome to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting in Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for the purpose of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote, please push the button on your microphone or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphones turned on when they are recognized to speak. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you are finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak. Those appearing virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, approach one of the two podiums on either side of the dais and you will be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thank you. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. All right, so welcome to the Alcohol License Review Committee. This meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. All speakers wishing to address the committee regarding an agenda item must first complete a registration form and submit it to the city clerk designee. Speakers may speak to the committee only after they're called by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes using our fancy new clock up there. After speaking to the committee, please take your seat in the gallery. The public is not allowed to address or respond to speakers or committee members unless they've been recognized by the chair of the committee. Mr. Verbeek, do we have any notified absences?
Yes, I believe Dr. Reese is our notified absence today.
All right. I call this meeting of ALRC to order at 5:41 p.m. Mr. Verbeek, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Mr. Bereshuk? Here. Ms. Bereshuk here. Alder Carter?
Present.
Alder Carter's here. Donnelly? Sorry.
Present.
Ms. Farley?
Present.
Ms. Farley here. Alder Miadzi?
Present.
Mr. Miadzi is present. Alder Reese is excused. Alder Revere?
Here.
Alder Reese here. Ms. Westra?
Here.
Westra here. Chair, we have quorum.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. First item of business is approval of the minutes for a meeting from January 18th. Committee, what's your pleasure? Alder Miadzi.
Approve.
Your motion to approve from Alder Miadzi. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Vereshuk. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Mr. Verbeek, are there any registrants for general public comment?
There are not.
Okay. Disclosures and recusals. Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. Are there any such disclosures or recusals? Looks like none. So, presentation of the consent agenda. At this time, a consent agenda will be moved with a recommended action to grant or with grant with conditions, or actually a little confusingly worded, but each item on it will have some expected action. If an item has registrants opposed wishing to speak, if a member of the ALRC would like to separate an item for debate or discussion purposes, if there are items requiring ordinance changes or operator's license applications, they cannot be on the consent agenda. Mr. Verbeek, will you please present the consent agenda for the committee's consideration?
Sure. The proposed consent agenda for ALRC meeting February 15th, 2023. Recommend the council to grant change of agent item 3. Entity reorganization items number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Recommend the council to place on file without prejudice, change of license premises, item number 26, and refer to March 15th, 2023 LRC meeting, public hearing new license, item number 27.
Thank you. Committee, are there any items that you would like separated from the consent agenda? If there are none, I will entertain a motion. Mr. Rushak.
Tell me how. Oh, I see. So you turn my mic on.
You hit the button to say you want to talk,
Okay.
and then we hit it to turn it
Thank
on.
you. Then I'll move adoption of the consent agenda.
All right, here a motion to adopt the consent agenda as proposed. See a second from Ms. Westra. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved as proposed. Mr. Verbeek will now read out the decisions based on that. If all of the business that you have has thus been disposed of, feel free to head home.
The past consent agenda for ALRC meeting February 15th, 2023. Recommend that council to grant change of agent. Item number 3, change of agent, Aldi Inc. Item number 5, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc. at 6525 Kilpatrick Lane. Item number 6, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc. at 4825 American Parkway. Number 7, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc. at 1421 Monroe Street. Item number 8, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc. at 1117 North Sherman Avenue. Entity reorganization, Quick Trip, number 9, Quick Trip Inc. at 2601 Fish Hatchery Road. Item number 10, entity reorganization at Quick Trip Inc., 4402 Buckeye Road. Item number 11, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 6702 Raymond Road. Number 12, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 2538 Fish Hatchery Road. 13, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 7502 Mineral Point Road. 14, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 7717 Mineral Point Road. 15, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 1625 North Stoughton Road. 16, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 3153 Maple Grove Drive. 17, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 4741 Lean Road. 18, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 401 North 3rd Street. 19, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 3528 East Washington Avenue. 20, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 1434 Northport Drive. 21, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 2402 West Broadway. 22, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 4626 Monona Drive. 23, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 3401 University Avenue. 24, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 5545 University Avenue. 25, entity reorganization, Quick Trip Inc., 6202 Schrader Road. Recommend council to place on file without prejudice. 26, change of license premise, Madison Locomotive LLC, and refer to March 15, 2023 ALRC meeting. Item number 27, public hearing new license, Vice Grounds LLC, 6067 Gemini Drive, Class B combination liquor and beer.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Verbeek. So once again, if your item was just on that list, you are done. So next up, let us jump to item 31 because we have a interpreter for that item. Do we have a registrant for it?
We do. Yaneth Herrera is here.
Okay. Do you need to swear in the interpreter?
Yeah. Angie, if I can have you raise your right hand. If you unmute yourself, do you affirm that you'll accurately interpret English to Spanish and Spanish to English?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Yaneth, welcome to the Alcohol License Review Committee. Can you please introduce yourself and describe the business you are proposing?
Bueno, Ginette, bienvenida a la reunión de la licencia de alcohol. Si usted puede, por favor, presentarse usted misma y también describir el negocio del cual va a recibir la licencia.
Bueno, mi nombre es Jenna Herrera. El negocio por el que estamos llamando es la Pollera Colombiana. es un restaurante de comida pues colombiana, típica colombiana.
Yes, so my name is Jeanette Herrera, and the business we're going to be talking about, the name is La Pollera Colombiana. It is a restaurant where we serve the typical Colombian food.
Pardon me. Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant?
Excelente, gracias. Comité, ¿qué preguntas tienen para la solicitante?
Ms. Farley, then Assistant City Attorney Zelavi. Ms. Farley?
Yep. Looking on your application, it looks like your hours of operation are listed from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. except on Friday and Saturday when you close at 11. Are there any times within that when when food service would not be available?
Bueno, está alzando la mano la señora Farley y también veo que está alzando la mano nuestra abogada. Entonces vamos a hacer la pregunta. La señora Farley pregunta que veo en su solicitud que el horario que usted tiene enumerado es que van a abrir de 9 de la mañana a 10 de la noche, excepto viernes y sábado, que van a cerrar a las 11 de la noche. ¿Hay algún momento dentro de ese horario en el que no va a haber disponible servicio de comida?
No, todo el tiempo va a estar disponible el servicio de comida.
No, food service will be available at all times.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Farley. Assistant City Attorney Zelavi.
Bueno, gracias, señora Farley. Excelente. Veo que tiene levantada la mano la abogada de la ciudad.
Hello, thank you. Have you completed the responsible beverage server training course?
Hola, gracias. ¿Usted ha completado el curso de servir alcohol de manera responsable o bebidas alcohólicas de manera responsable?
No, ya estamos buscando para hacer la inscripción para que todos los socios tomen la clase y la podamos presentar.
No, we are already looking into signing up so that all our partners would take the class and we can present that.
Does she have a date in mind when she's going to do it?
¿Tiene una fecha en mente en cuando lo va a hacer?
Una fecha exacta, ¿no? Estamos buscando el curso en español, ya que pues nuestro idioma base es de español, entonces tratamos de acomodar los horarios, porque pues debemos estar presentes acá en el restaurante y ver qué tiempo nos queda para que cada uno lo vaya presentando y todos, como te digo, lo tengamos.
I don't have an exact date. We're looking into the registration for a course in Spanish because Spanish is our language. And we're also trying to coordinate with our schedules because we have to be here at the restaurant. So whatever time we have left, we're going to work it out that each one of us can take it, like I mentioned.
So the restaurant is already open?
Entonces el restaurante ya está abierto.
Sí.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Bien, gracias.
Right. Thank you, Assistant City Attorney Zelavi. Alder Carter.
Bueno, gracias a la
thank
abogada de la
you.
ciudad. Sigue la Alder Carter, la concejala Carter.
So, excuse me, I have two questions. One is, I'm looking at your floor plan. Is the storage area secure from the bar and restaurant area?
Bueno, tengo dos preguntas. Estoy mirando aquí su plano y me pregunto si su área de almacenamiento está asegurada del bar y el área de comida.
Sí, por supuesto, las puertas siempre están con seguro y son dos entradas diferentes.
Yes, of course, the doors are always locked and there are two separate entrances.
Okay, and so the entrance and exit is in front of the storage area, correct? That's what it looks like on your floor plan.
Bueno, entonces la entrada y la salida ambas quedan en la parte de adelante del área del almacenamiento. Eso más o menos es lo que parece cuando estoy mirando el plan.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. The other question I have is you're opening up at 9 o'clock. Are you getting ready for lunch or are you serving breakfast at 9?
Bueno, la otra pregunta que yo tengo es que ustedes están abriendo a las 9 de la mañana. ¿Ustedes se están alistando para el día o ustedes están sirviendo desayuno a las 9?
Sí, los desayunos los tenemos disponibles desde las 9 de la mañana hasta las 10 o 11 de la noche que cerramos todos los días.
Yes, we do have breakfast available starting at 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. when we close every day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Thank you, Alder Carter. Committee, are there any other questions for the applicant?
Bueno, gracias a la concejala Carter. Comité, ¿hay alguna otra pregunta para la solicitante?
Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
Señor Verbeek, ¿hay alguna otra persona registrada para este ítem?
There are not.
All right.
No hay.
Assistant City Attorney Zellaby?
Hi, I just have a question for Mr. Verbeek. And is the license, if you grant the license, is the license not issued until he has proof of the responsible beverage server training?
Bueno, la pregunta que sigue es de parte de la asistente de la abogada de la ciudad, la señora abogada Silavi. La pregunta es para el señor Verbeek. La pregunta es que si se les entrega la licencia que no se expide hasta que tengan un comprobante de que han tomado el curso de servir bebidas de manera responsable.
Correct. I can put a conditional hold on the license until that's met. We won't issue it until we see.
Eso es correcto. Nosotros le podemos poner una condición a la licencia en que no se les expedirá la licencia hasta que tengan prueba de que han tomado ese curso.
Any further questions, Assistant City Attorney Zellaby?
Just if the interpreter could make sure that the applicant understands that piece of it.
¿Alguna otra pregunta de parte de la abogada asistente de la ciudad, a la señora Silavi? La pregunta es que si la intérprete se puede asegurar de que la solicitante entienda esa parte de la licencia.
O sea, es decir, que ellos me pueden dar la licencia, pero no voy a poder servir el alcohol hasta que tengamos todos el curso de manejo.
¿El curso de manejo se refiere al curso de servir bebidas de manera responsable?
Sí.
Okay. Yes. So if I'm understanding correctly, you would give me the license, but then we will not be able to serve alcohol until we all have that course for the responsible beverage serving.
No, you will need to provide the clerk's office proof that you have done the course before you will be issued the license.
No, usted va a tener que proporcionarle pruebas al secretaria de la oficina que digan que usted ya tomó ese curso antes de que le puedan dar la licencia.
Okay.
To clarify, we need the agent to have their beverage server training proof before the license can be issued. There should be licensed operators at the premises who are serving, unless under the supervision of another operator or the agent. But we will need to see proof of beverage server training from Ms. Herrera before we can issue the license.
Bueno, para clarificar, nosotros necesitamos que el agente encargado tenga ese entrenamiento de servir bebidas. Entonces necesitamos el comprobante de eso. O sea, va a haber unas organizaciones que se encargan de la licencia, o sea, los operadores, funcionarios que pueden estar sirviendo las bebidas, pueden estar ahí en el lugar, en la propiedad, sirviendo esas personas, a menos de que estén también un agente que esté entrenado. Entonces vamos a necesitar específicamente que la señora Herrera tenga ese entrenamiento.
Ok, perfecto.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Ms. Westra.
So I just had one question for one of our lovely attorneys. For question 14, what is the time requirement that the beverage agent needs to be a resident of the state or continuously residing in the state of Wisconsin?
Bueno, es una pregunta para uno de nuestros amables abogados. En la pregunta número 14, ¿cuál es el requisito de que la persona que va a estar sirviendo las bebidas esté residiendo en el estado de Wisconsin?
Assistant City Attorney Brist.
They must have lived 90 days continuously in the state prior to the date of application.
Deben haber vivido 90 días de manera continua en el estado de Wisconsin antes de la fecha de la solicitud.
However, is this a corporation or a limited liability company?
Sin embargo, ¿esta es una corporación o es una compañía de responsabilidad limitada?
It looks like it's an LLC according to the application. In that case, the officers and the directors and the members and managers of a limited liability company are not subject to the 90-day state residency requirement.
You said officers, directors, members, and who else?
Managers.
And managers, okay. Entonces, parece que en la solicitud pusieron que son una LLC, entonces esas LLCs no son sujetas a ese requisito de tener que vivir continuamente en el estado de Wisconsin, específicamente los oficiales, directores, miembros o gerentes.
All right. Alder Carter.
¿La concejala Carter?
Sorry, I was on mute. Jim, was this location on East Washington, did they have a license before? And were there any conditions on their license?
Lo siento, estaba en silencio. Jim, ¿esta ubicación en East Washington tenía una licencia anteriormente? Y si es así, ¿tenían alguna condición?
¿Eso me está preguntando a mí?
No, a Jim.
Okay.
Looks like the last licensee was Indian Fusion, and let me look up to see if we had conditions on that license.
Bueno, si el que tenía la licencia ahí antes era Indian Fusion Cuisine.
Looks like no.
Y estamos mirando a ver si tiene alguna condición, si tenía alguna condición esa licencia y parece que no.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Jim.
Ms. Westra.
Señora Westra.
Ms. Westra.
Señora Westra.
Sorry, mute got me. I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move approval.
Your motion to approve.
Second.
Second from Alder Carter. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries on item 31. License is granted. Congratulations, Zenith, and have a good night.
Bueno, entonces dice la señora Westra que hace la moción para aprobar. Segunda, la concejala Carter también apoya la moción para aprobar. No hay nadie en contra. No quieren tener ninguna más conversación al respecto, ninguna persona. Entonces, la moción pasa, se les va a dar su licencia. Felicitaciones, Ginette.
Ok, muchas gracias. ¿Puedo hacer alguna
Ok.
pregunta o ya aquí terminó la corte?
Okay, thank you so much. Can I ask a question or is the
Sure.
audience, is it over? No, sí, seguro,
You may
puede
ask
hacer
a question.
preguntas. Se puede hacer preguntas.
So, dice que lo aprobaron. Igual yo tengo algún tiempo límite para hacer el curso.
Okay, so you said it has been granted. Do I have a specific timeline where I have to take that course by?
So the ALRC is recommending to the Common Council to grant your license. This will go before the Common Council meeting on March 7th. They then can take the recommendation of the ALRC, or they can do anything else. And then whatever action they take, it doesn't become official until the mayor signs it, which is typically about the Monday after the meeting. But after today, you can start reaching out to the 4 agencies that need to sign off on the license. That is health, building, fire, and zoning. And once all those agencies have signed off, once you have shown us your proof of beverage server training, and then at that point, when all those are complete, you can pay for the license and the license will be issued to you. And you have,
Bueno, entonces,
you have 180 days from when the Common Council grants your license to get the license issued.
bueno, entonces lo que estamos haciendo es que el LRC está recomendando que se le apruebe su licencia. Entonces ahora el siguiente paso es que se tiene que presentar frente al consejo en la reunión de marzo 7 y ellos pueden tomar la recomendación o pueden hacer alguna otra cosa, van a tomar alguna acción. De todas maneras, si ellos deciden que sí se la van a expedir, entonces de todas maneras la alcaldesa tiene que firmarlo y eso normalmente sucede el lunes después de la reunión. Lo que usted puede empezar a hacer mientras tanto es empezar a comunicarse con las 4 agencias que también tienen que firmar su licencia, que son salud, edificios, los bomberos y la zonificación. Entonces, también nos tiene que mostrar que tomó ese curso de entrenamiento de servir bebidas de manera responsable. Ya después de que todo eso se complete, entonces ya usted puede pagar por su licencia y se le expedirá la licencia y usted tiene 180 días después de que el consejo le apruebe su licencia para poder completar todos esos pasos.
Ok, perfecto. Muchísimas gracias.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, that brings us back nearly to the top of the agenda to item 2. Item 2 is a change of agent application for MKS Petroleum, doing business as the Willie Street Mini Mart. Is admin for that? All right. Please state your name for the record and let us know your relationship with the applicant.
My name is Ron Trachtenberg. I'm an attorney with Furman & Dodge, a law firm in Middleton, Wisconsin. I represent MKS Petroleum, LLC, and I'm here tonight to support and speak on behalf of the change of agent application. With me to answer questions is Aman Pri, who is the proposed new agent, and also Mavi Singh, who is the owner of MKS Petroleum. And the issue that came up before the ALRC at the prior meeting was, what did Aman Pri know and when did he know it? The question that was specifically asked, did you know of Mr. Mavi Singh's activities? And he answered yes. And that raised the question of when and how much. I have sat down with Aman Pri. I reviewed the Mavi Singh complaint that was issued. That was part of the prosecution. He has assured me that he did not know of any of the activities alleged in the complaint, stated in the complaint, until after the complaint became public. So when he replied that he knew about it, it was post-release of the complaint. He says, also advised me, and he's here to answer any questions you may have, that he was not involved in any of the activities alleged in the complaint. So with that, I'll hand it back to the commission for either asking questions of me or Mr. Amanpri.
Thank you, Ron. I'm sure Richard Nixon would have wished that his attorneys had such a straightforward message to deliver.
I wish I had been counsel during the Nixon years. It would have been fun. I will state one thing. I had a summer job. I was selling TV sets, Ed Phillips and Sons, and it was the Watergate hearing summer. And it was an absolute blast to watch those hearings.
I can only imagine. Committee, what questions do you have for the registrant? Alder Carter.
Thank you, Chair. I think that was if I recall, that was the one question that brought back the applicant to the ALRC meeting. If the membership feels is satisfied, I'd like to make a motion
There's no one else.
at the appropriate time.
There is no one else in the queue. Oh, no, Alder Verveer.
Are you recognizing me, Chair Donnelly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good to see you, Attorney Trachtenberg. I'm sorry it's not in person.
I missed you too. I wish you were sitting here.
Thank you, Ron. I do too. Just too busy today. I wanted to ask a question of you, obviously, and that is, it's clear that you reviewed the video of our meeting last month when your client was here. The issue was raised as to your client taking ownership of the establishment. Can you elaborate as of this evening? Does your client indeed plan to purchase the business, and if so, what the timeline is for that?
As he said, he plans on purchasing, the applicant for the agent position plans on buying the business sometime this summer. My understanding that will not include the real estate. Mr. Mavi Singh will keep ownership of the real estate, but the business itself will be purchased by Pri. The details have not been worked out.
So you couldn't share with us, for example, if an application is planned in the next 30, 60 days or whenever that might be?
I have advised them that in order for him to buy and operate the business with the sale of beer, whatever, either himself or an entity that he sets up to buy the business, I've advised him that he will have to make an application for that new license. And my recommendation has been that he allows himself at least 90 days for that process.
Okay, thank you very much, Ron.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alder Verveer. Committee, are there any further questions for the registrant? Mr. Verbeek, do we have, Ron, feel free to hang out there for a minute because people usually sneak other questions in later. Jim, do we have any other registrants for this item?
We do not.
All right.
We do not.
All right. Committee, what's your pleasure? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. A question of Attorney Zilovey, please.
Assistant City Attorney Zilovey.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Obviously, you recall that you were pretty direct in your recommendation to the committee last month that there, I don't know, you point blank said to us that we should strongly consider denying the application, but you certainly raised serious concerns about the application last month. I'm curious if your position has changed any, if you could share. I don't know if you've had any conversations outside of tonight's meeting with Attorney Trachtenberg or anything else that's led you to perhaps.
I did speak with Attorney Trachtenberg, and at our last meeting, I realized that there was a possibility that there was a language barrier that was the reason the question was answered the way it was by the applicant. And after talking to Attorney Trachtenberg, I'm comfortable that that is likely what happened.
Very good. Very helpful. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Alder Verveer and Assistant City Attorney Zilvey. Committee, what's your pleasure? Ms. Westra.
Move approval with any existing conditions that are currently on, or well, no, this is a change of agent. Never mind. Move approval.
Your motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Carter. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 2, change of agent for Willie Street Mini Mart is granted. Congratulations, Amanpreet, and have a good night. Yeah. So next up, we've got item 4, which is a business name change for Bloom Bake Shop, changing the name to Lalande. And item 29, which is a license transfer. License transfer is when a business is moving from one address to another. This is Bloom Bake Shop, soon to be formerly known as Bloom Bake Shop, moving from 1851 Monroe to 1859 Monroe. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes.
All right, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you're planning to do?
Yes. Sorry that I can't figure out the video. My name is Anne Marie Maitree, and I own Bloom Bake Shop at 1851 Monroe Street. And we are leasing the space at 1859 Monroe Street next door to the bakery. And we are seeking to transfer our liquor license next door. We're keeping the bakery as a full-service bakery. We had a cafe pre-pandemic and let go of that to survive. And we are now in a position to add a lovely restaurant to the street next door.
Can you describe what differences there will be in the previous operation and proposed operation, besides, of course, being a couple of doors down?
Yes, it's right next door, but it will be two separate entities. There will not be a connection between the two. The restaurant named Lalande will be Wednesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then we will reopen from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It will be lunch with a little brunch, French inspired. It will be reminiscent of the cafe we had previously, but it will be weighted tables, more of a restaurant than a previous kind of casual cafe. In the evening, we plan to serve wine, have a little bit of charcuterie and fromage and lighter fare. We do not intend to stay up late because we are bakers and we have to be back to work early. And just wanted to add something interesting, take our skill set and add another different type of entity to the street.
I'm a morning person, but I still find what bakers consider to be the start of the day to be kind of horrifying. So, committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Carter.
Yeah, looks like my packet's incomplete. Anne Marie, can you tell me what your hours are?
Happily, it's Wednesday through Sunday. We'll be open 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then we'll reopen from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then reopen what time?
9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Effectively open until 9 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And are you just looking for wine and beer?
We currently have a full liquor license and we are looking to transfer.
Oh, just the transfer. That's right. You did say that. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any further questions, Alder Carter?
No, I'm fine.
All right. Ms. Farley?
Yeah, looking at the application, I see the change of name, but I don't see anything in relation to change of premises. Maybe I'm missing something in the packet.
I actually am happy you brought that up because I agree. My orange sheet actually has that information, but I did not see that change of transfer as well in my documentation. So I was
Those are two separate items on the agenda. Item 4 is the business name change. Item 29 is the license transfer.
Okay, so you do have both on hand.
Correct. Ms. Farley, further questions?
No, thank you.
Excellent. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
All right, committee, what's your pleasure? Ms. Westra.
I'd like to move approval of item number 4 and item number 29.
There a motion to approve items 4 and 29. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Items 4 and 29 are approved. Congratulations, Anne Marie, and good luck at your new location, or expanded location. All right, next up, item 28. Item 28 is a new license for Ian's Pizza on Francis. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes. Me.
Hey there. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, I'm Rose Mohan. I'm the GM of the Ian's Pizza Francis Street location. So we were here last month and we were asked verbally if we wanted to drop the wine license. We answered on the spot, but incorrectly. So although wine is not planned for our initial menu, we would like to retain the option to add it without going through the entire application process again, which is why we requested to be referred back to this committee.
Excellent. Thank you for the concise explanation. Committee, what is your pleasure? Mr. Bruchak. I'm sorry, I forgot I had to do it again.
I move to approve.
Your motion to approve from Mr. Bruchak. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Ms. Farley.
I was going to second.
Excellent. Any discussion of the motion to approve? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 28 is approved. Congratulations, Rose, both on getting that and on the amazingly short time we spent on it. That is probably the fastest I've seen something that wasn't on the consent agenda in my decade plus at ALRC. All right, next up, item 30. Item 30 is Jalisco Cucina Mexicana at 108 King Street. Do I have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, you do.
Excellent. Can you please introduce yourself and describe the business you're proposing?
Yes. So my name is Brooke Ann Hernandez Barajas, and we are currently a food cart that just got our lease at 108 King Street for a Mexican restaurant. And I see on the agenda that we're just down for the Class B beer license. We actually wanted the full liquor license. I apologize for that. But we're looking to serve authentic Mexican food and have a full bar.
All right. Mr. Verbic, in the application, is it for Class B combo? Yes, 30.
Yeah, I seen the application we received that it was only the box checked for Class B beer. Double check her.
Got it.
Assistant City Attorney Brist, you might want to get ready because I think we're going to have a question for you.
Yeah, I see that's all we entered when we entered the application. So it looks like all we had on the application was the Class B beer. The committee wouldn't be able to approve anything more than that because we've not publicly noticed the application for a Class B combination liquor and beer. So the only way to do that would be to re-notice it for the following meeting.
So I believe their options would include going forward right now with this and then submitting a second application for the Class B combo and going through the process for that, or requesting that we refer this to our next meeting so that the application can be updated and properly noticed?
Correct.
Okay. Assistant City Attorney Brist, am I off base on anything there?
No, that sounds correct.
Excellent. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. So I had a conversation with the applicant along these lines today. Unfortunately, I didn't catch the discrepancy until today. Perhaps we could have rectified this if it had been caught earlier. But I had predicted what our legal advice would be with the applicant. And so if I could, Chair, let me just confirm with Brooke for the committee's benefit what she shared with me on the phone. And that is you would like to proceed tonight, Brooke, with the Class B beer only license. Is that correct? And then come back to our next meeting on March 15th for a Class B combination alcohol license?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And if I could ask the the Deputy City Clerk, Jim Verbic. Jim, would the applicant be able to still be on the March 15th agenda? And do you require a complete new application and another $100 publication fee? Will you be, I presume you'd be having to publicize this through the State Journal and postcard mailing?
Yeah, so if the applicant's choice is to continue with the Class B beer and also parallel have a Class B combination, we will need a new application for that. And regardless of that, we would still need another $100 publication fee because that would cover the cost of the publicly noticed in the newspaper as well as the postcards.
Thank you. And is the deadline passed for March 15th yet or no?
No, it's actually next Monday at noon. So the applicant should get the application in before then.
So Brooke, do you understand all that? It was as I predicted that you'll have to unfortunately pay another $100 and make a new application.
Yes, I understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And obviously you heard Jim, it's due Monday at noon.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you, Brooke. Again, my apologies as I apologized on the phone today for not catching it earlier.
No, it's totally my fault. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alder Verveer, for wrangling and streamlining the communication on that topic. So, committee, what you have before you is an application for a Class B beer license for this establishment. So, what questions do you have for the applicant, Ms. Westra? Ms. Westra?
I'm having mute issues. I apologize.
No worries.
No questions for the applicant. I just wanted to put a motion out there for discussion.
You may do so.
Move approval.
I hear a motion to approve and a second from Alder Verveer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 30 is approved exactly as it was on your agenda as a Class B beer license. Congratulations, Brooke, and I guess see you next month.
Thank you.
All right, next up, item 32. Item 32 is a new license for Sultan Restaurant. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, that's me, Sultan Ahmed.
Excellent. Can you please introduce yourself and let us know what you're proposing?
Yes. Hi, my name's Sultan. I am the chef owner of a new restaurant that we are opening at 1054 Willie Street. It's a small plates Pakistani place with a 40-seat dining room and a small 10-seat bar. And the application is for a Class B combo license. We'd like to have a cocktail menu as well as about 4 or 5 beers on tap and a small selection of wine available for customers dining at the restaurant.
Excellent. Thank you. So, Sultan, are you the owner of the business?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. That'll head off a couple more questions. Great. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, Sultan. The only question I have actually relates to the very recent communication received from the Marquette Neighborhood Association.
Sure.
I understand you appeared last night before their Preservation and Development Committee. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. And in their communication, they ask for a few conditions to be placed on your license. Are you familiar with what those are? Should I review those?
Yeah, I know what they are. I think to have the kitchen open at least half an hour up until at least half an hour prior to closing, as well as to maintain the hours listed on the application.
And that you have as a license condition that you meet the statutory definition of a restaurant and under Madison General Ordinances?
Yes, the 50% food sales. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have no objection to any of those? Is that correct?
That's correct. Those are all fine.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was easy. Sultan, normally we have to tell people this to get them to agree to that, but if you are operating successfully for a while and then are interested in expanding your hours, you can come back with a change of license conditions application and request that the hours be extended.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are none.
All right. And committee, what is your pleasure? Ms. Farley.
Move to grant with the conditions already outlined.
So those conditions would be that food is available up until a half hour before alcohol service ceases, that the establishment meets the definition of a restaurant under MGO 38.02 at all times, and that alcohol service ceases by what time?
It's 10 p.m. The same hours on the application. I think 10 p.m. on the weekdays and midnight on Friday and Saturday.
So 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, midnight Friday and Saturday. Is that
Yes.
your intent, Ms. Farley?
Yes, Chair.
Excellent. Do I hear a second? Second from Mr. Bruchak. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Congratulations, Sultan. You've got big shoes to fill and after Roman Candle, but I'm also really excited to have a Pakistani restaurant in my neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Have a great night.
You too. Take care.
All right. That brings us through all of our licensing business. So now we've got more internal stuff. Item 33, we need to elect a vice chair. Would anyone like to make a nomination? Remember that you are allowed to nominate yourself. Fire away.
So who's the second longest? So two questions, I guess. Is an alder allowed to be vice chair, and who's the second longest serving member of this committee?
And
who's
alder,
eligible?
An alder is not allowed to be vice chair. And I believe that the second longest serving, Ms. Westra was on for a while and then off and then back. I believe that Dr. Reese is the longest contiguously serving non-alder or staff or appointee member.
Thank you. I'm inclined to nominate one of those members, but I'll hear from others.
Alder Carter, then Ms. Farley.
I would like to nominate the legendary Amy Westra.
Right. Here, a nomination for Ms. Westra. Ms. Westra, do you accept this nomination?
Yes.
You don't have to. You don't.
No, I do. I do.
All right. Excellent.
I'm being difficult.
That's your prerogative. All right. Ms. Farley.
Alder Carter beat my nomination for Miss Westra, so I will lower my hand.
All right. Alder Miadzi.
I just wanted to second that.
Okay. Nominations don't need to be seconded, but I'm sure Ms. Westra appreciates the support. So, are there any other nominations for vice chair of the ALRC? Are there any other nominations? For a third time, are there any additional nominations for vice chair of ALRC? Hearing none, the nominations are now closed. There is one candidate. So, is there any dissent to confirming with Ms. Westra as vice chair? Hearing none, it carries. Congratulations, Ms. Westra. You are now vice chair of the ALRC.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the committee for keeping up with the tradition of not having a vote, even though I prepare for the vote. There's never a vote, but
I mean,
I was ready for it, though.
It's better than the alternative.
It is way better than the alternative.
Is it secret ballot?
It is secret ballot.
Oh.
I was ready for it.
Assistant City Attorney Zillaby.
Thank you. I would just like the chair to inform Captain Hansen that this meeting is not representative of typical meetings.
Captain Hansen, they are never longer than this. I'm so sorry we've kept you here so late. This is just brutal and unfair. I'm going to jump to items 36 and 37 since they're in line of that. We have a vacancy on ALRC's Operating Practices Subcommittee. Is there anyone who is willing and is there anyone who's interested in serving on that subcommittee? Ms. Farley.
I think that I would be interested in serving on that subcommittee with the understanding that it's based off of kind of operating practices of the ALRC. And I think we've talked about some of the things before and referred. Sorry, I have a dog in the background. Some of the nuances of like who's representing a applicant and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think that would interest me.
All right. Thank you for your interest. Is anyone else interested?
I was just going to ask, what do we cover on the operations subcommittee?
So the Operating Practices Subcommittee is there to discuss and determine procedural things about how ALRC operates. So, for example, making changes to the physical applications that people fill out, discussing guideline or past issues that we discussed, what the guidelines would be to exclude an item from being on the consent agenda. Some of us had concerns about inequality in the level of scrutiny applied to applications, and we wanted to make sure that there was do our best to have a more consistent standard. And to that end, we have a list of items that Mr. Verbeek can use to say, okay, these are things that I know cannot be on the consent agenda. Now, a new license application on any of these blocks, 18 plus visual and performing arts license, etc.
And who's currently serving on the committee?
Mr. Verbeek?
I believe Donnelly and Verveer are the two current members on there. No?
I am not. Dr. Reese has my old seat.
Oh, then it's Reese and Verveer.
And of course, any member of ALRC can show up. There are 3 voting positions. Are you also interested, Ms. Westra?
I am not. I just had some questions
Excellent.
for our at-home audience.
Sure. Basically, we formed this a few years ago because we'd been accumulating a list of things that we knew we needed to talk about, but at the ends of our grueling 60 to 90-minute meetings, we never had the energy to have those conversations, and we didn't want to force people to stay for that. So we spun off a subcommittee that would meet irregularly and as needed to discuss such issues and then bring recommendations to the entire ALRC, and then we would adopt them or discuss them, potentially adopt them. Ms. Farley.
Chair, I believe you just answered my question, but my understanding is that the meeting of the subcommittee is ad hoc.
You are correct. And given that instead of scheduling, 9 members plus all the support staff, it's more like 3 members, Jim, and a couple of attorneys. So a little easier to schedule. Any further questions or discussion? Given that we never determined an official process for people becoming members of the subcommittee, I would entertain a motion that Ms. Farley be appointed to the empty seat that Stefan vacated. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Westra. Is there a second? Second from Alder Verveer. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Farley. Next up, there's a vacancy on the ALRC Operators License Review Subcommittee. So for anyone on or the committee or just watching who is interested, the origin of the Operators License Review Subcommittee was an equity analysis that we did a couple of years ago. And one of the items that came up during that was concern about the process for operators to come before ALRC, in part that it is potentially challenging for people in the service industry to show up at a 5 o'clock meeting, even though it rarely runs past 7 or so. And also the emotional burden of being forced to have such heavy discussions on TV in front of a large audience. So we formed the Operators License Review Subcommittee, which can hear operators license applicants in a smaller, less formal and less public setting, and then bring recommendations to the entire ALRC about how to act on them. And as I'm sure somebody's going to ask, who are the current members?
The current members are Carter, Revere, and Dr. Reese is an alternate.
Okay, so this is filling the third non-alternate seat.
Correct.
So when does that committee meet?
That committee meets every fourth Wednesday at noon if we have an applicant who is asked to appear before that committee. So I don't think we've met in the last 5 months or so. So it's kind of at the whim of someone asking to appear before that subcommittee.
And does the third member need to be able to physically get down here at noon, or is it something they can do over video?
The practice has been so far that's an entirely virtual meeting. I don't think there's any intention to do it, given that it's a little harder to do over the lunch hour to just show up,
of course,
than it is right now for something later like this at 5:30.
Sure.
So I think the intention for the subcommittee so far, no one's expressed any interest in meeting in person. So that would be it. Oh, and I was reminded after I said Dr. Reese was the alternate, that the committee has that since said any member of the ALRC is an alternate. So it's really those two members right now, and then everyone else is alternates.
Excellent. Ms. Westra, then Ms. Farley.
Does anyone know if Dr. Reese wants to move into the non-alternate seat for that?
We do not know.
Can we tentatively move her to that seat?
We could, but
Can you yell at us next
I would recommend referring the item instead if that's what you want to do.
Okay. I would like to refer this item.
All right. I hear a motion to refer from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Ms. Farley, okay, your hand's down. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 37 is referred to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Item 34, report of the Madison Police Department. So, would our new representative like to introduce himself? Already.
Am I live?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you. Well, if I'm the rabbit's foot to always make for a short meeting, I'll be here all the time. Thank you.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, right. My name is Mike Hansen. I was the captain of the South District since 2019. I go way back with Alder Revere and Alder Carter, so it's good, familiar, and Jennifer Zilvey, so it's good to see them on this committee to help me out as well. Long time born and raised here in Madison, and looking forward to everything central. I really am taking this new assignment on with excitement because it's such a vibrant district.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
In the summary of recent calls for service, are there any items to which you would like to draw our attention.
Sorry, do I hit this button or you're always hitting it for I?
You hit the button to say you want to talk, the light goes on here, and I hit the button to turn it on.
Great. Okay. Thank you. No, nothing of note from the calls for service.
All right. Committee, what questions do you have about recent calls for service or anything else with MPD? Mr. Bruchak.
I know you're new. Welcome to the committee. How's the underage drinking situation on State Street and surrounding areas and the enforcement of those laws?
Great question. Thank you for asking. I had met with Attorney Zillavi here earlier this week. I just started in this position Monday, trying to get a handle on how big it is. And the brief discussion we had on it was how detailed and real looking these fake IDs are and how easy they are to get, even if we do take them away. I do have priorities for this district, and I'm just trying to weigh where that will fall. Obviously, it's important, but there's a lot of important things in this district as I'm learning in the 3 days. So I'll have a better assessment by March, our next ALRC meeting, and I'm happy to give you a volume of contacts and how many we've taken in the last month and any details you'd request.
I would just, if something's worth noting, if the situation is, if there's a spike in contacts, I'd like to know. But if everything's routine, then and if I don't hear from you, I'll assume everything is routine and normal.
Okay, sounds fair.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bruchak. Ms. Farley.
Yeah, while we have the time and the opportunity, I'd like to ask if they're on the topic of underage and licenses, are there any programs, like what does that process look like if an underage person is caught, and are there what rehabilitation or processes do we have to help around education? I'm just unfamiliar with that in Madison, so I'm curious.
Sure. There's two fronts to this. The first would be our efforts, our coordinated efforts with our community police team to do some enforcement in the bars. So it's going in on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night to do bar checks, and if we come across people that are underage asking for ID, and then seeking compliance to obtain that fake ID, and then we store those at the MPD and eventually destroy them. The other part, though, and I learned of this last week as I was transitioning, is our bar liaison officers in the CPT have done some education seminars with the bars and bartenders. And so if we can, and part of that education is how realistic looking these fake IDs really are. We recognize that, and the effort between the police and the bars will be important for trying to curb underagers getting into these bars. So we know what happens. We're not naive to it. Once we do catch an individual, there really isn't a social program to send them to and say, hey, you shouldn't be in the bar. Where we'd see more of that is where they come into detox. If we take an individual to detox that is overserved, incapacitated, we bring them to detox then, and they're 18, 19, 20 years old, there might be more services for them on that end as opposed to the front end during our initial contact.
Okay, thank you. And are there any initiatives working directly with UW, seeing as to how I assume a large portion of these underage individuals are college students?
Yes, and the past history that I know with Alder Revere is the dean's office at the UW was very well connected to the Madison Police Department, and I want to continue that relationship. And I just was emailing the chief's office at UWPD today, so a coordinated effort to help educate further the UW students is important to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Farley. Assistant City Attorney Zillivi.
I just wanted to add that for those underage individuals who do get cited by the police and come to court, they are given the opportunity to attend an alcohol education class, mostly first-time offenders. On occasion, if someone has more than one underage citation, sometimes they're referred to a more intensive counseling program beyond just the educational, but there is an educational program that we refer them to as part of the settlement process in dealing with their citation.
Excellent. Thank you, Assistant City Attorney Zillivi. Ms. Farley, do you have any follow-up questions for Assistant City Attorney Zillivi?
No. I was very involved in residence life in college, so I was curious to hear how it happens in Madison.
Excellent. All right. Any additional questions for Captain Hansen? All right. Thank you, Captain. Next up is the report of the city clerk. So, Mr. Verbeek, is there anything to which you would like to draw our attention?
Nothing on the report. I'll just say that we're starting the process of renewals for this year. So March 1st is when we send out the letters to all current licensees to let them know that they need to submit renewal paperwork. That renewal paperwork, the deadline is April 15th. They can submit as late as the 28th this year, since that's the Friday. But if they submit after postmark by the 15th, they could incur a $250 late fee for submitting the renewal. And we do the late fee because we try to incentivize to get them on time, because our office has to audit every single licensee's renewal form that comes in. And we also have to get that noticed and to the Common Council to refer the renewal at the beginning of May for the ALRC to act on it at the May ALRC meeting.
And you also need time to schedule 1, 2, 3 special meetings of ALRC to deliberate on any separated renewals.
Yes, I should probably send a dual poll around soon for the committee to try to see what dates were available for separations. We've been blessed lately in the fact that we hadn't had many separations, but with things opening up again and certain things being in the news, I would imagine that we'd probably have at least a few separations.
Committee, what questions do you have for Mr. Verbeek?
I'll just add too that the committee has the right to separate any license for renewal if they so choose.
Any questions for Mr. Verbeek? All right, that's item 35, and that is the end of our agenda. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Bruchak, second from Ms. Farley. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed have the same privilege. Motion carries. ALRC is adjourned at 6:58 p.m.
Record speed.
Have a good night, everybody.